What's good, everyone? Birds deep, we back. Um, Not excited about last week, but we'll get into that. I'm the Godfrey, Cool McCain, and below me we have the NFL genius. Gene, tell him who you are.
Mean! Whoa! Gene. And I don't even care about last week. I flushed that shit down the toilet already.
Yeah. Well, at least you came with more energy than the Eagles. I mean,
I felt like the first quarter had energy.
it did have energy. It did. I think the score isn't indicative as a game. I just think it went off the rails real quick, but it was going the way I thought it should go at a certain point. But we'll get into that. Grades, of course, a preview of it's Dallas week, so we got to preview that. The game has become even more important because of last week's results. We'll dissect everything last week. Give that some very aggressive grades. I can feel the aggressive grades coming on as they should, and we're going to give them out. So, I guess we should just dive right into it so we can flush it on this show since it's been flushed everywhere else and just get into the grades right away of the 49ers Eagles games last week. You think so, fellas?
Yes, sir.
Let's
Where do you
go.
want to start?
Let's start with the defense. Let's just get to the meat and potatoes.
Can I go first?
Absolutely.
F minus. The worst performance I've ever seen a Philadelphia Eagles defense put out since Jameis Winston went nuts back in 2016, was it? When he just couldn't be stopped up and down the field. F minus. He allowed 6 straight touchdown drives. Nicholas Morrow looked like Levon Kirkland. They were terrible. And by the way, I got a little slander from my man Slay. I love Slay. You better watch who you talk to. Seth Joyner ain't the one. Don't get into it with Seth. Seth is dead right. The whole city's going to have his back. Easiest way to make an enemy in this city is to take a shot at Seth. Seth was 100% correct. Those cornerbacks didn't look like they wanted to tackle. Nicholas Morrow looked lost. Christian Ellis, good riddance. Yeah, I got a lot to say about the defense. And the funny thing is this, right? There's 2 guys that look like they brought their lunch pails to go play defense on Sunday. One was James Bradbury, all the trash that got talked about him, not a pass completed on his side. And the other was Hassan Reddick. Trent Williams absolutely bullied Jalen Carter and Sweat, Josh Sweat. They got bullied on the left side of that line. Yeah, F minus. And Rob, I don't want to hear about how about your Niners. You're still in second place, you clown.
I guess they won the championship that week.
That's their championship. They're so happy. They won the regular season game.
So the 49ers have won their Super Bowl. They won their Super Bowl in week 12. Congratulations. Can we give them like a hand clap or something? For the rest of us, the season continues on because you have to get to the playoffs, win playoff games, do the things that the 49ers haven't done to get to the Super Bowl yet. And they may, but you haven't done it yet. But go ahead and celebrate like you have. Please do so.
You're going to give them the Mercury Morris quote? Talk to me when you get on my street.
Hey, man,
they're on our street. They're on our street right now.
Yeah, we don't got to give them none of that. I mean, they're gonna run around and puff their checks out and chirp and all that good stuff. That's all good, man. You win a game and you don't really feel like you should win. That's how you do, right? We beat the Chiefs. Did you see us come up here and do all the chirping? No, because it's a regular season game.
We understand the difference.
We understand the difference. Well, Nicky Tight Pants is a whole different story. But we just do what we do. We win the games, we win. Sometimes you lose. Rob is back on the best team in the NFL. Hey, if that's how you want to feel about yourself, I don't think you are. But if that's how you want to feel about yourself, that's fine, man. You know, the Browns might believe they're the best team in the league. The Panthers might believe they're the best team in the league. But just because you say it doesn't make it true. But on to the grading. So I want to preface my grading by saying there is no unit on this team this week that can receive a grade C or above. So if you give any unit on this team any grade other than D or F, I'm leaving because that means you're crazy.
Well,
I can't do it.
So you're giving the defense F minus as well.
I'm giving the defense a D.
Okay.
I'll tell you why I'll give the defense a D.
Okay.
The first drives, they did well. We know the issue was in the middle, but there was no one else to put in. Literally, injuries didn't really give us anyone else to put in. The only thing I think Desai could have done was try to put like a backup safety or a backup corner in those positions. I completely agree with Gene. I think Reed Blankenship was the only other guy that I would say that had his hat on and had his lunch pail. A lot of those guys did not come out there ready to hit, ready to tackle, ready to be aggressive against a team that's been chirping at you for months. So I know some of you weren't part of the team last year, but you've been part of this team long enough to hear them chirping.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to put some of the blame on the fact that 3 throws, 3 and out. 3 throws, 3 and out. 3 throws, 3 and out. But we will get to that. But I'm going to give them a D. You want to give them an F. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to argue you that they should have a different grade. I'm just going to say I'm giving them a D.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gene on this. I'm an F minus, and the reason is, although the injuries is part of it, I think that comes down to honest self-evaluation of your team's abilities and game planning for such. Now, you might not be able to overcome that, but you knew they were going to try to run it down your throat with Debo, get some plays where you put them in space, and they went directly in that direction. They knew that they were putting a guy in that was demoted to special teams in the beginning of the season, okay? And Ellis. And Morrow, he is what it is. There is the injury to Zach Cunningham. Nakobe Dean's hurt too. Bet you everybody misses Nakobe Dean a lot more now. So, I would rather had him and Zach Cunningham out there. That's for sure. And they knew that they had to know that was going to be their game plan coming in. And they were aggressive at first. They had a couple good series and then they adjusted, but we didn't seem to adjust. So I do understand the lack of personnel, but I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong here, fellas, but Eli Ricks was in the slot a lot as well.
Eli Ricks got absolutely abused. Nicholas Morrow got abused.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan put on a master class on how to attack players anytime he wanted to. He attacked Eli Ricks and Nicholas Morrow all across the field. He stayed away from Slay and Bradbury. Slay had a couple catches he allowed on the sideline, but he was there. Particularly the 3rd and 5 when the Eagles made it 21-13 was the biggest one. But Jawan Jennings absolutely torched Eli Ricks in the slot.
Well, that's why the F minus is concrete for me, because to make Purdy uncomfortable, you want to move him off a spot. And you also take him away from his comfort zone, which is throwing over the middle, short passes over the middle, slant routes, throws to receivers coming in the backfield in motion. And they didn't do that. He was completely allowed to stay in his comfort zone. And, I'm just like, what you thought they would do offensively is exactly what they did, and they imposed their will on them. And I know you were injured, but I just feel like sometimes this team has guys that they have on the team and they put too much faith in them because they're trying to be positive, and they don't really recognize them for what they are. And that goes on both sides of the ball, right? We could talk about that on offense. I think that happens on defense. I don't know, man. Did I see Kevin Byard come up to the line a little bit closer? No, Kittle didn't have a big game, but he did definitely have a very impactful game.
Godfrey. They run basic vanilla zone 75% of their plays. And basic vanilla zone will work if you're getting pressure on the quarterback every single play. But they weren't. They got pressure in the first quarter, and then the legs got tired. And 49ers
they didn't adjust. They should have known that at halftime, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't you adjust at halftime? If you see the zone isn't working, you don't need another quarter and a half to figure that out. And I just feel like there's not a unless they're saying like, hey, we can't adjust because we don't have the personnel. We're going to have to stick with the plan.
Bro, I'm tired of hearing the personnel thing. There's
too.
So many teams in the NFL that have less of a personnel than what the Eagles put out there every single week. Everybody has holes on their defense. And the defensive coordinator's job is to schematically scheme away from the holes.
Yep.
Sean Desai has not done that. I'm tired of giving him a pass. He stinks. I'm tired of it.
I agree. F minus.
I do not agree. When your hole is in the middle of the field and you don't have people that you can go get to plug it up, what are you scheming from? And let's also not forget, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis produce nothing at this point. So you're not getting pressure from half the line. You got Reddick doing his thing on one side, but you're not getting anything really from anybody else. What is he going to do about the line? What is he going to scheme differently for the line? So that's my thing. That's my thing.
I would have ran nickel double A, nickel double mug, and blitz them 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 and blitz them. I would have not allowed CMC to get off the line of scrimmage. I would have made Brock Purdy throw over the top of Darius Slay, James Bradbury. I would have not allowed them to. I would have used Reed Blankenship, and I would have used Kevin Byard to be able to. God, so what? I'm listening.
So you want to have Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel go one-on-one with James Bradbury and Darius Slay?
Absolutely. I would rather have that.
I have nothing else to say.
That's fine. I would rather have that than them having Nicholas Morrow getting torched by George Kittle.
I mean, at least try it for a couple series. I mean, what would have happened? They would have scored less points. You know what I mean? Like, at least try it.
6 touchdown drives.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're at least try it at that point. You needed to get a stop desperately.
Cool. What I just heard from you was, well, we didn't have the personnel, so might as well not even try anything new.
I said, what would you want them to do? The guys that we depend on, and I completely disagree with putting 2 aging cornerbacks who don't have the speed that they used to have one-on-one against 2 young, fast receivers. I completely disagree with that.
Yeah, but Ayuk, like, listen, if you can bait Purdy and going to the outside, that's more of an advantage to the defense there. I'm with Gene on that. Like, because the thing is the defense completely going to look like that and crumble just because Zach Cunningham is out? That can't be possible. And I know they're not what they used to be, but they're not dust. We're not talking about like the bottom rated cornerbacks in the league here. The quarterback still has to make the throws. The receiver still has to run the route. Deebo, he had so much space. He could have parked the bus. I mean, that end around was embarrassing. Like, I'm just like miffed how it just felt like, all right, well, this is what it was. And it felt like at a certain point, they weren't necessarily giving up, but they weren't really trying anything else. And I just don't. Sometimes I don't know. This coaching staff just seems asleep sometimes.
Okay. Well, we got to move on. What's the next one?
So I'll let you guys pick. You want to go Jalen Hurts, or you want to go offense?
It's my man, Rob. You're 20th in the league in grammar out of 21 people. So knock it off. Go with who?
You want to go with the head coach and offense grade, Sirianni, or you want to go with Jalen Hurts?
You pick.
We'll go Hurts.
C-.
Nobody on the team deserves anything C or above. D.
Well,
I gave Jalen a C- because they scored 19 points against San Francisco's defense. I feel like that the play calling in the red zone was terrible. Once again, by Brian Johnson. I don't blame that on him. He drove them down the field for 2 field goals and 2 touchdown drives. I feel like 21 points is what you need to get to be able to have a chance to win the game. They got the 19. Obviously, neither one of those numbers were close. I can't give him an F. I don't think it was a D performance. He didn't turn the ball over at an alarming rate. So I gave him a C-.
Yeah, I'm going to go D+. I'm going to compromise there between this standard. And the reason is I don't think he played a bad game necessarily, but I don't think it's going to show up on a stat sheet. And I don't know if this is the coaching. I don't know if this is Jalen. Maybe I missed the report during the week. But the play that I keep thinking about specifically is where he's waving A.J. Brown, as they said on the broadcast, and then he's in the backfield and he trips. My thing is they're driving the ball and they gave that drive away. 3 points felt like a defeat. He could have ran. He could have picked up some yardage. There's so many other things that could have happened on that play. And I really think sometimes that this coaching staff, being as young as they are, they want to put their stamp on things, right? And then I don't know if that, influences the player. And Jalen, I know they have trust for him, but if they have trust for Jalen and that was his decision, I totally have to go down to a D because that is a bad decision. You can't be playing. He's playing hero ball in the first part of the game right there. If that's the case, if not, and the coaches are pushing him to do that, I get keeping your eyes down the field, but the falling over, man, I get you slip, but I mean, if that's a touchdown. And let's say they only get a field goal on the other one, it's 10-0. If you convert both, it's 14-0. It's a diametrically different game at that point. And people will say, no, it's not. No, yes, it is. It will definitely change how the game goes if those two drives were field goals. And the inability, because correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, on the stats. I don't get everything right. They haven't been as effective inside the red zone this year compared to last year, right? Like
Well, they
inside
were
the
very
20.
effective in the last 3 games. I think they were 13 for the last 13 before that
So
game.
why not get into the red zone and get in there? It just seems like they're trying to do more than they have to do. You know, they were driving on them. They were having success over the middle, throwing it to AJ Brown, right? And they weren't. I mean, early on, they were moving the ball. So it just seems like on those were backbreakers. So like when you're playing a team that's going to be evenly matched, you can't be giving up that 4 points. You can't be settling for field goals because it will change the pace of the game.
CJ's made 2 of the points that I was going to make. You need to have 10 to 14 points from those first 2 drives. And there's this thing called running the ball. And why do I say that when I'm talking about Jalen Hurts? Who has the power to audible? Who has the ability to say, this sucks, I'm not doing this, we're not running the ball enough, let's throw some run plays in there? Who can audible to a run play?
Jalen.
And he's not doing it. So guess what?
Right.
You get a D with everybody else until you start manning up and grow a sack and do what needs to be done.
He was waving him for it felt like for 10 seconds on that play. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you know, I just was really disappointed in that decision. And that's why I got to go to D. I mean, that specific thing right there. Because listen, there are other things, and you could audible in the run. And remember what I said last week. You know me, I would prefer them to run, but I knew they were going to come out passing. And they were. And it was working if they scored a touchdown. But it doesn't mean you only pass, right? You need to run as well. And I don't understand. I feel like running in the red zone is going to be more effective, you know, especially if you have them on their heels and you're passing. It just feels like there's not a good mix of the play calling and there's no balance there, right? I don't need a 50-50 split, but I don't also need an 80-20 split either.
I said what I said. I'm so sick. I can't wait to flush this toilet over playing these bums that think they're like on top of the world and they have 3 losses. So I'm so sick of hearing.
Yeah, and that was annoying me during the week too. Like I was talking about how, you know, some of my friends, I'm like, I would say you're a bad Eagles fan. They're like, why are you saying that? I'm like, don't be Chicken Little. They lost 3 in a row. They're like, the Niners are going to run a table. I'm like, so they're going to dog walk the Ravens, who have a good team. Like, you know, they didn't lose to the Browns and the Vikings on Kirk Cousins on prime time. There's no NFL team this year.
Seattle this weekend.
Yeah, there's no NFL team this year where you could go, wow, man, they're unbeatable. It's really not. The Chiefs do not look like the Chiefs that we're used to seeing. I mean, we'll go on that, now I want to call it the old name, sideline to sideline, after the show. But people were acting like the season's over. I'm like, dog, if we went into these 4 games with an opportunity to be 3-1 after the Dallas game, you would say sign me up at the beginning of the season when I said Chiefs, Bills, Niners, and Cowboys in that stretch. Everybody would be like, sign me up, even if you go 2-2.
But Godfrey, we didn't keep the game close.
Right.
It's a different loss because we didn't keep the game close.
I agree.
Because there's this world where, if you don't keep the game close, then that means the other team was just so much better than you.
Yeah, and that's where I was saying earlier. I don't think the score is indicative of really, if you look at the football game, they did blow them out. They beat their ass, but there are a few plays that could change the trajectory of a game. That's how football is. Like it could be
14-0 would have made a big difference.
100%. Because when I was saying, I knew that they were going to try to come out passing. Again, you guys know I always say they need to run the ball. Maybe it gets tiring, but I knew they were going to do that. And if they hit them at 14-0 and they're doing that, I believe you might have seen more running the ball. I think that was the plan, but the wheels came off the bus because they didn't execute when they had a chance to do it. And that was the difference in the game, was those 2 drives. I said to myself after Jalen fell down, I was like, oh man, I did not have a good feeling after that. I was like, this is This is the type of shit that will lose you the game.
Coach Sirianni.
Can I please go first on the coaches? Can I
Yes.
please go
Come
first
off
on
the top
coaches?
rope, man. Come on. I'll tuck
F
you in.
minus because you can't go any lower. The lowest possible grade that you can give. I hate the offensive coaches for this team, and I wish that they would get trapped in a room for the whole entire game and couldn't coach, and somebody else would have to coach. I'm sick of Sirianni. It's coming out what I've been saying all season. He has a strong hand on the offensive play calling. This looks like the same crap from 2 years ago when we threw the ball too much. We didn't run the ball enough. We got in the playoffs and got spanked. If you're not going to run the ball and be an Eagles team that's built for the run, then you're not going to win where you ultimately want to go. I don't care what the percentages are. You can leave that to the number nerds. Yeah. When this time comes and you threw the ball 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in a row, hand the ball off to a back. Run the ball with Jalen on a little outside run, not up the middle, but a little outside run where you slide or get out of bounds once the defense gets close. Yeah. Oh, and the main reason why I want to give you an F minus, I want to leave you guys some material to discuss as well. The main reason why I want to give them an F minus, the game was out of reach and you still got Jalen Hurts out there, and he already came back from almost getting a concussion. What kind of idiots are you? You're idiots. You're stupid, and I don't know how you got your jobs.
Don't forget DeAndre Swift getting his clock clean too. Like what, 2 minutes and 34 seconds left, something crazy like that. Yeah, I mean, I'll go next. F minus as well. I like following. I guess it's called X now, but I like following Brian Baldinger. He likes to break down the offensive line, and one thing he was showing is, I don't know if this made a difference overall, but I think it would have made a difference. We missed Dallas Goedert on blocking, right? And he was showing Jack Stoll getting blown off the ball, guards getting blown off the ball trying to run the ball, and they still should have did it. I'm not saying they shouldn't run the ball, and that's the excuse not to, but I'm disappointed in Nick Sirianni scheming for the personnel that he has. Jack Stoll isn't as good as Dallas Goedert, especially when it comes to run blocking. It's the truth. I think they were hoping they would get more out of Olagunwe, and they're not. But they needed people in there to block, and Goddard's that much better of a blocker than all the tight ends. Okay, it's the truth. And if you look on the film, you see it, right? And they were blowing them up. They just weren't getting the push that they needed to get. And I am disappointed in Nick Sirianni and the coaching staff from an offensive perspective of how they schemed for the players that they had available. And that's part of it. The blocking scheme. I don't understand how you weren't giving them enough reps, so we didn't run the ball enough. And then, if you are going to run the ball, are you going to run on your weaker side? I don't know, man. I just didn't. I didn't feel it at all. They felt lost. It almost felt like they were a one-trick pony. And then once their game plan was blown up, they were like, "What do we do? What do we do?" I don't know. It's an F minus.
I give them an F also. I can't stand the way this team looked. They looked flat. They looked terrible. The snap counts were hilarious when you look at them. Eli Ricks was only on the field for 5 snaps. It felt like he got beat on all 5 of them. He looked terrible. Did you know that?
He was only on the field for 5 snaps. I felt snaps. I was having nightmares of Eli Ricks and number 53, Ellis and Morrow. I think I must have been saying it in my sleep. Yeah,
Ellis was bad. Nicholas Morrow was another level bad. Nicholas Morrow was the worst linebacker I've ever seen in my life in that game. He was lost. He was on
Howie needs to get
It was almost like if he was playing on an ice rink and everybody else was playing on cement.
Yeah, Howie needs to get an honorary F for the linebackers in the offseason too, because the Bears didn't want Nicholas Morrow. I know TJ Edwards wanted to play in Chicago, but I'm pretty sure if you give him a little bit extra scratch, I would have liked to see TJ Edwards here more than Nicholas Morrow.
I would like to see Kaiser White.
I'll take that too.
I would love to see Nakobe Dean not get hurt because he's exactly what they need at that linebacker position, because his speed is exactly what they're missing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was awful. I don't think it's the end of the season for the Eagles. Some fans are acting like that. Teams get beat. This is professional football. It's not like you're looking the outside in. You still control your own destiny. And
Yep.
the Eagles are
Appreciate it.
still in the best position of any team in the NFL right now as far as playoff seeding and controlling their own destiny. So, I mean, I know it sucks because it definitely was an ass whooping, but that happens sometimes. And to be honest, maybe it's the wake up call they needed. So
They definitely needed it. They needed to get beat down. They needed to get beat down because then you can't use the excuse, yeah, but we won. No, we didn't win. So no more of that. We don't have to hear that crap anymore. You fix the problems before this happens.
Is this
You didn't.
Are we flushing this officially now?
Yeah, flush it. I do want to talk about a Philadelphia Eagles signing this week. Darius Shaquille Leonard is now a Philadelphia Eagle, signed a 1-year deal to play linebacker. I think he'll play this week. I don't.
He's got to.
Yeah, like they already cut Christian Ellis, so you don't have to learn much because if you're being honest, the Philadelphia Eagles play the most vanilla defense in the NFL. So you don't have to learn much. He doesn't have to learn a snap or a pitch count.
I think the defense is called Zero Fat Yogurt, vanilla yogurt.
So bland.
Yeah.
Cunningham returned to practice. It looks like he'll be on the field. I hope you see a lot of Cunningham and Shaq Leonard, if I'm being honest with you. I would be fine to never see Nicholas Morrow again. I don't know if Nakobe Dean did have that Liz Frank surgery. I don't know if he has an opportunity to come back at all this year. I keep looking for articles and resources there, but I would love our three linebackers.
Well, I think this is his second time on IR this year, so I don't think he can come back.
I'm pretty sure they said he could. You can go on IR twice, but I'm pretty sure you can, but I could be wrong. And if he can't come back, then that's that. I keep hearing Avonte Maddox might be able to come back this year, so that would be nice. But we need all the help we can get defensively. And offensively, listen, kudos to the Eagles coaching staff and the staff at the NovaCare complex for getting those guys coffee. But those dudes that stood out front of the NovaCare complex that said run the ball were absolutely correct. Allow the offensive line to put hands on the defensive line. Run the football.
Yeah, you could go on IR twice this season and come back. You can. I think that was an older rule, though. I know what you're talking about, Cole, but I was just looking that up. You could still come back. But Liz Frank is one of those injuries where that's hard. Even if he's healthy enough to play, it's hard to come back and get your full explosiveness with that type of injury that quickly. It's one of those injuries that can nag you the whole year, and then it's like a high ankle sprain. It depends how bad it is. So
likely ending his season, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Shaq Leonard signing. He's not the Shaq Leonard that you knew in Indianapolis, but he's still a plus up for us. So I'm glad he picked us over the Cowboys, because the Cowboys they got a hole in the middle now too. So that's why they're looking to sign him, and we should be taking advantage of that, which we'll get into a little bit later. But
we can get into it right now. I mean, the Eagles Cowboys is the discussion at this point. Cowboys are 100% healthy. They got everybody. I mean, outside of losing Trevon Diggs at the beginning of the season, Vander Esch a couple weeks ago, but every single starter has no injury designation, particularly the offensive line. Now, Vander Esch is obviously a loss, out for the season. That was 3 weeks ago, but they've played fine defensively since then. Although last week versus Seattle, maybe they were looking ahead, maybe they weren't. Their defense got tuned up. So it'll be nice to see if this Philadelphia Eagles team can take advantage of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. That Seattle game, I was surprised, and I don't think a lot of people were, how much they passed the ball and moved the ball on them, that Seattle offense. And I was like, wow, okay. I mean, I don't know. If the Eagles they should be able to equal that kind of output. The question is, what will the defense do? You guys would answer that. What actual impact Shaq will make? I mean, I've seen a lot of people ask that question. No one really knows.
He's not the All-Pro that he was. And listen, I will take it back to anybody that's played the game of football that breaks down NFL action. And I heard someone this past week, whom I respect very much, Brian Baldinger, say there's a difference between all-pro Shaq Leonard and Christian Ellis. And he'll be in between. We just don't know what side of the coin he'll be on.
Yeah, 100%.
He'll definitely be better than Christian Ellis and Nicholas Morrow. We just don't think he'll be the all-pro he once was.
Well,
I think his impact is above average.
Well, he's going to also have the game smarts and instincts to call things out, make plays, be in a position to have the opportunity to make the play. You know, the question is, you know, him not being an all-pro anymore is he's not as fast, so he might not get onto the ball as quick as he needs to get onto the ball as he used to in his heyday, so to speak.
Got to be faster than Nicholas Morrow.
Right. And he's going to have way better instincts, and he's going to be a way better leader, as Cottrell saying, 100% right. So that's an add to your locker room. I mean, any way you look at it.
Also going to lay the wood on people. The wood will be laid by him, which is something that we have a problem with doing, laying the wood on the other team. He will lay the wood.
Yeah. 100%. It's a plus up. I mean, that's why they're doing it. And, you know, I know defense, there's some, I need to see more from my D-line. Josh Sweat's got to stop getting offsides. Like, he's becoming Mr. Offsides. You know, I just got to see more from Josh Sweat in that department. That was a killer offsides penalty against the 49ers. That's a field goal instead of a touchdown, I believe, at that point. So, killer.
I'm curious to see if we get anything out of Ben Van Sumeren this week.
I mean, is the bar high?
He's a linebacker.
Are they going to put him in the game over Nicholas
really,
Morrow? Is the question. Will he move up the depth chart and get more opportunities on the field? You know, because it's going to go.
At least got to give him a shot.
Shaq Leonard.
I mean, you at least got to give him some plays or something. I mean, it can't be any worse. And I also want to say,
well, he's definitely playing
when
special
I look
teams.
at the roster, I see Josh Joby, or Job, however you want to say it, back as the backup left cornerback. Why are we doing that? Why is that a thing? I mean, seriously, for me, why is Quez Watkins and Josh Job on the roster? Put them on the practice squad.
Yeah, Quez showed up this week. Come on, man. That's your boy. I mean,
Quez showed up when the game didn't matter.
Cottrell said it perfectly. Can't let Eli Ricks run one-on-one on CeeDee Lamb in the slot. They better have a better game plan for him this time than they did last time. They did not have a great game plan for CeeDee Lamb last time they played. They did not have a good game plan for Jake Ferguson last time they played. They better have a better game plan on that carpet than they did on our home field the last time we played. Would he have 11 for 188 the last time we played? Can't have that happen.
So here's the thing, though. Like, are we really going to expect this team to get that much better? Right? No. What quarterback has not had a great game against the Eagles, statistically speaking, besides Mahomes with all the drops? Statistically, they're going to give up a lot of yards. That's what we do. That's why we're a bottom passing defense in the league. It is what it is. I mean, there's no way to come out and save us. There's nobody we're going to get. There's no scheme, in my opinion, that's going to boost it all the way up. You can make it a little bit better. You could try to run a little bit more variance in your defenses. You could try to make it a little bit better. But at the end of the day, you're going to have sets where you're going to have people that can be exploited. And when they're out there, they're going to be exploited. And that's going to be the problem. The offense has got to do their thing and actually run the ball, actually get touchdowns, actually put points on the board. That's what the team needs. The defense is what it is. The offense has to step up. If the offense is garbage with the way the defense is playing, we're not going to win.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I know everybody was high on this guy because he broke the record for pick sixes, DeRon Bland, but he got absolutely cooked last week in Seattle. And when you're watching that game, they went after him. They went right after him. And DK Metcalf had a feast. AJ Brown could have a feast too. So, I mean, if that's who they put on him, you know, their defense can be had. Van Der Esch is an important piece of that defense. You know, it's not the make all, but I mean, I'm watching them run the ball. They're throwing screens on the outside. Seattle moved the ball pretty at will on them. Okay, and that's not an overpowering offense. And I was miffed. I mean, I would be willing to say most people were picking the Cowboys to win that game by a lot more than they actually did. You can't tell me that people were expecting 70 points in that game. Okay. No, if you're a liar. I want to see the proof that you put it somewhere on social media that you could have thought 70 points was going to happen. So, point of me bringing it up is their defense could be had, and I hear you on what you're saying. Cool. I agree 100%. That it is what it is. I wanted to answer Damian Hernandez's question. He said, should the Eagles sign Hurts for the game because with Goddard out? Well, Goddard should be playing.
Goddard's playing.
Yeah. So, and the thing about Hurts is, I think that'd be more of an emotional sign. I don't know how much he has left. I don't know where he's rated as a blocker.
Maybe worse than your boy Alberto. Did you watch that?
Yeah. He could block. Did you
watch that bum, Alberto?
He's got more left than
they finally gave him snaps. He outsnapped every tight end, and he was the worst guy on the field.
I mean, do you think they should sign Hurts?
Yeah.
I'd take Hurts.
Cut Alberto. Get Grant the hell out of there. You can go Goddard.
I don't even know why we haven't signed him yet.
Well, I think that's the telling thing because I think he hasn't been signed by anybody because I don't know how much he has left in the tank. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. I mean,
he can't have less than Alberto.
I hear you on that. I'm not going to fight you on that. I'm just saying, I would ask the same question, but there has to be a reason why nobody has brought him in.
Hey, Damon, I just want to respond to you. 216, a touchdown, interception, and a 72% completion percentage. That's a good statistical game.
I don't think that's good. 216, one touchdown, one pick. I don't care.
72% completion percentage.
The ball 3 yards.
They dropped the ball like 4 times on top of that, like wide open plays. So let's not discount those things. Yes, Tyreek Hill dropped multiple.
He dropped the one, he kicked it, but I don't remember him dropping more.
No, he dropped another one. He dropped one in the end zone. He dropped one in the field of play. So let's not act like there weren't a couple of big plays that were dropped as well in that game.
Look, I'm just tired of the excuses that are made for the defense. It's not that I'm making excuses. It's that I'm saying it's a two sides of the game. We already understand that this is a low middle defense. Yeah, but what's the reason that they're a low middle defense, Cool? And if you say personnel, I'm going to lose my mind. It's not
personnel. Lose your mind.
It's not. The defense has a bland scheme. You can schematically. First of all, let me tell you something right now. When Rex Ryan took over the New York Jets in 2007 or 2006, they had one of the worst defensive personnels, and within a year, they were one of the best defenses in football because
you haven't lost your mind yet.
What? Well, a scheme can make your defense.
I only said it so you lose your mind.
A scheme can make your defense. You can't play bland, vanilla, cover 2, cover 3 defense, and the offense knows exactly where the zones are, and they pick them apart the entire game. Watch the Eagles defense. They run the same dropbacks. They're playing zone 70% of the time. It's embarrassing.
Do you feel like you're having deja vu from last year?
But you didn't lose your mind, Gene. I thought you were going to lose your mind.
I mean, listen.
All this said is we
I mean, aren't these discussions
it's the scheme.
Similar?
It's the scheme. It's seriously the scheme. It's the scheme. But the thing, the point I'm making is, and I resigned myself to the same thing last year. We're going to make some plays because of the players that are on the team, but the scheme is not good. So there's going to be a lot of times where we're going to give up points because the scheme is not good. We understand the scheme is not good. You want to fire the coordinator and get another coordinator in here, whatever. Right? At this point, I don't care. You can fire both coordinators and head coach, and I wouldn't be mad. But if they're there, this is what we got. Defensively.
I don't think
with the weapons that we have offensively.
I think
I wouldn't be mad if he's going
I think that scheme doesn't matter who the defensive coordinator is. I'm telling you, I think it's a philosophical move by the organization. That's the defense they want run.
No, because last year they ran 70% man. This year they're running 70% zone. It's a different friggin' scheme.
But they're still
whether they're running
over the middle
deep safeties or not. Yeah, because they ran 2 deep safeties and they never invest in the linebacker position. But last year Jonathan Gannon ran man. This year Sean Desai is running zone. They're 2 totally different schemes. Now, if you're talking about the umbrella effect where they're dropping back and allowing them to play football in front of them, yes, that is organizational. But what they're playing is vanilla. They're not disguising anything. I want to see a Bowles defense. I want to see a friggin' Flores defense. I want to see a defense that has a game plan when they go into a game like, oh, wow, the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to take this away. They're not taking shit away. They have the best front four in football so they could stop the run, and their back half is playing vanilla zone. And so all their cornerbacks never look bad. They're like, oh, well, the defense looked like this because Darius Slay didn't allow any catches and Bradbury didn't allow any catches. And no, that's not what happened.
Didn't have to. They didn't even focus on it.
Correct.
It wasn't. Yeah,
if you're throwing Nicholas Morrow out there on George Kittle or Christian McCaffrey, or if you have Nicholas Morrow on George Kittle or Christian McCaffrey, and you have Darius Slay on Brandon Ayuk, where are you throwing the ball?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, we can all agree that someone talked about CD in the comments. I think it was Guttrell. We know what's going to happen. He's going to catch passes over the middle. He's going to come up the slot, and
what are we going to do to stop it?
Push him to the outside.
Push him
to the outside.
In the words of Nori. What are we going to do to stop him? In the words of Nori, nothing.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like no matter who's here, they're going to do the same thing.
Okay, so all I'm saying is we know that. We know that. That's not going to change. We know that. So offense, you've got to put more points up. You can't throw the ball 50 times and run the ball 3 times. You have to keep the defense off of the field. You have to keep the front line fresh. We need you to run the ball for those things to happen. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm not giving the defense a pass. The defense should be better, but it's not. It's not going to change, right? Yeah. Sean Desai is not going to come out one day and say, I should play better defense. If he hasn't done it in 12 weeks, he's not going to do it. So what offensively, we don't have a guy on the defense that can call audibles, you know what I'm saying, and say, this is the defense they put us in, we're going to do something else. We don't have a guy on the defense to do that. We do have a guy on the offense. We need him to do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, look, that defense, I agree with what you're saying, Cool, because, and I think if I'm saying this, you guys say I'm wrong. A lot of defenses in the NFL, they set it up where they want their teams to play from ahead. Your defense is going to be different when you're playing even straight up at first, and when that defense is designed where their offense is supposed to score points, so you can put these team in passing. Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's why they got completely skated when they were playing from behind. Because how often are they far behind? How often do you see that where they're not within striking distance? We haven't seen that a lot this year.
They were down by 4 straight games.
I don't think 10 points is out of their range of coming back. I think
obviously
they were in striking distance because the offense didn't score points.
Yeah, and you also are getting boat raced with people, Debo taking it to the house, the end around, Christian McCaffrey dicing you up in the middle. I mean, they're
end around
in the third quarter. It was 21-13, Godfrey.
End around, that's crazy. I mean, if you wanted to use Quez Watkins anywhere, why don't you hand the ball and tell him to run around the end and run out of bounds so somebody gets close to him?
No, I don't want to see him on the end of anything.
That's what I say. End around, all the way around the outside. When somebody gets close, then you run out of bounds. Why not use it? If you want to use them like that.
I would rather use Zacchaeus in that role.
Me too.
I mean, I would rather use Zacchaeus, but I would rather use Boston Scott in the backfield over Don't Gainwell. But Nick Sirianni doesn't care what I want.
Zacchaeus has already eclipsed Watkins with important catches with that catch against Buffalo, looking at Quez Watkins' whole career.
Zacchaeus caught
a better player overall
early in the season, and that eclipsed what Quez Watkins has done.
Yeah, Quez Watkins is one of those guys where
Julio Jones has meant more to this team this year than Quez Watkins, and he has one speed, and that's about 20%.
They're just some guys that are organizational favorites, and I fully believe Quez Watkins is one of those guys.
He's clearly an organizational favorite, but I don't think he's not a player favorite.
Nah.
He's not a fan favorite.
Oh, God, stop it, Guttrell.
And around the Julio, like 9 years ago, he'll need to call an Uber to get there. Stop it. Come on now.
That's an automatic loss of 10 yards.
And Guttrell says Jim Schwartz, baby. I'm like, listen, a lot of defensive coordinators will look really good with Myles Garrett on that offensive line playing like a monster. So Jim Schwartz has had his days too.
Jim Schwartz and Nicky Tight Pants, you can't put them on the field together because all you get is two guys about to pass out every time something great or bad happens for their.
Jim Schwartz has done a hell of a job in Cleveland. He also
particular unit.
He also did a hell of a job in Philadelphia's first season.
Yeah.
I feel like that Jim Schwartz is a very good defensive coordinator, but it's a very, very average defensive scheme. He plays press man. Like, that's what he plays. It's his scheme. And I'm not saying I have nothing against him. He played press man, and no, he didn't help them win the Super Bowl.
500 yards total offense.
500 yards in that game. Jim Schwartz doesn't even deserve the friggin' ring.
Brandon Graham, one play helped win that on all the other ones. There, dude. You know what? I was a one-off for the Eagles, and I'm so grateful for that Super Bowl. And I got to tell you, if Malcolm Jenkins doesn't knock the ever-living stuffing out of Brandon Cooks, it might have been a different Super Bowl.
I got to answer this question.
Hey, I don't want to deal with what ifs. We're not the Marvel universe.
I got to answer this question. He says, does anyone feel like the people are being too hard on the Eagles? They are 10-2 after all and having a great season. Yes, I don't think we're being too hard on the Eagles, and I'm going to tell you why. The expectation is Super Bowl. It's not to win a lot of games. It's not to make the playoffs. The expectation is Super Bowl. They told you that in their front office with these one-year contracts. And I don't feel bad for the Jets. I don't feel bad for anybody else in the NFL. I feel our loss for Jets was bad, but a freak occurrence. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. But I don't feel that the Eagles were being too hard on the Philadelphia Eagles. They just got blown the hell out by a team that told you they were going to blow you out on your own field. I'm not okay with that. And you better show me something more, or I'm going to give you more fire next week. You can't lose to San Fran and Dallas back-to-back weeks. I don't care if you go out there and you intentionally hurt somebody. Go hurt somebody. Show me you got a pulse. I don't care.
Yeah, that I feel like, and listen, I'm not going to make excuses for the Eagles either but this, like you said last week, Gene, the schedule makers have done them no favors. And I definitely think whether they want to admit it or not, the snap count from the week before took a toll on them. You still shouldn't have been that far apart.
Godfrey, the schedule makers didn't do the Eagles a favor. That sucks. The Niners having 10 days rest and the Eagles having all those snaps versus Buffalo. That sucks. The fact that we were missing our starting middle linebacker and backup middle linebacker, that sucks. Do you know what, dude? I don't care. You got punked on your home field.
Yeah, they did.
By a team 100%. That wore all black to your stadium. Dude, I wish they would have started fist fights on the field.
The team that's been chirping ever since the minute the game was over in the NFC Championship game.
And I have too many counterfeit greens. Too many counterfeit greens.
Yeah, and it's
like 4, 5, 6 of them.
For me, it's just not that you lost. It's that you went out there and you got manhandled. I don't care about the score. It could have been 50-7. But if we went out there and played hard, I'd have felt better. We went out there and laid the freak down. And that's what I'm pissed off about.
Yeah.
Feel you. All right, guys, let's give score predictions. And then we have I have 4 counterfeit greens this week. So I will let you guys all go first. If you have one, I have 4. So I need to get into those.
I think you'll accomplish the same ones we are. So I think we'll just let you go. For the score, I'll go ahead and go first. I've got Philly. I'm gonna go 35-20.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Godfrey.
Yeah, I think Philly wins this one as well. I think it'll be a little closer to 35-20. I'm looking at like 31-28 Eagles.
Eagles 28, Cowboys 27. They get out of Arlington with the win, and all you hear the next morning is Skip Bayless talking about the Eagles are lucky. Like Cowboys are still better. I'll go 28-27 Eagles in a very highly contested, close football game. Guys, remember, it is December. And what does Dallas do in December, January? They become the Cowboys. These are the Cowboys you know and love. The ones that fall apart in December, January. I think the Cowboys will get in their own way again. I think the Eagles win this one 28-27.
I agree. And then they don't have a run game like they had last year. Like I said, I've always said it. People said I was nuts. Tony Pollard's not every down back. You see it. He's a guy that there's going to be a cap on his touches.
100% agree.
And he's always been that guy. Always will be that guy. And that's why I see Rico Dowdle getting some more touches than usual, things in that nature. They didn't keep Zeke. Zeke's not a game wrecker, but it definitely is more of an effective runner at certain parts of the game. And last year, the Eagles almost went into Dallas and beat them with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. So I want to see what Jalen does, because we didn't get last year Jalen in Dallas. I want to see, we got Jalen in Dallas this time. I believe that this team is resilient. I believe they will respond. I do like what I hear the players saying afterwards, their attitude, correcting things. And this is where strong leadership comes in a team that has veterans like a Kelsey, a Lane Johnson, a Brandon Graham, and they're going to be ready. Best believe this will not be like it was last week. This team, they're pissed. They know they shit the bed. They know they shit the bed.
It's week 13. I don't care what you say. Show me what you do.
Right.
If you say nothing all week, but they beat us, we deserve to lose, and you don't say anything else, and you go out there and you perform, that's what I want to see. I don't care what they say anymore, because I've been hearing every week the same crap in some iteration from most of this team. I don't want to hear it anymore. Fix it on the field and shut up.
I don't think that the answer of Bruce Harper, I don't think Desai should be fired. I mean, I'm not happy with the results, but my thing is if you fire him, what's up next? What's the solution? I think when you start just firing people after a bad loss to an organization, you're a bad organization. That's not stability. Stability doesn't breed long-term success.
Michael, we go live every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know when we go live, just like and subscribe to either Birds Deep's page on Facebook or Wire to Wire's page on Facebook. It'll notify you immediately when we go live. I appreciate your comment. Do you have a counterfeit green this week, my friend?
It's more not, we didn't talk about it, but it's more about, I mean, counterfeit green is, I would have liked to believe it, but I saw people online during the game thinking the Eagles were going to make a comeback after the Dom incident. I get thinking it's a momentum swing, but Dom doesn't play on the field. So, and especially after, they scored that touchdown, then the Niners just come right back down the field. You're like, wow. So that was not a momentum swing. That would be my counterfeit green. I can't believe we didn't bring the big Dom up. What?
I am. It's one of my 4 counterfeit greens.
Does he get a grade, by the way?
No.
No? All right. I was going to give him a C-, but anyway, that's my counterfeit green. But
first counterfeit green is the way that the 49ers behaved and acted. It looked like a bunch of petulant children winning their Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan blowing up when his linebacker took a swipe at Big Dom. Big Dom's doing what he's supposed to do and breaking up a fight on the sideline. I'm good with what Big Dom did. I think that it's ridiculous that Drake Greenlaw put his hands on him and put his hand in his face when Dom is just slowly pushing him away. Come on, bro. You're an NFL football player. You can handle a guy pushing you away a little bit, number one. Number two, let's be very clear when we say this. Stephen A. Smith is an absolute joke right now. He had the Philadelphia Eagles 4th on his power rankings. Need I remind you, stupid, that we have the best record in football. You had Dallas at number 2 when we beat Dallas already, and we still have a better record than them. Number 3 are the morons that don't understand how seeding works. By the way, just so you're clear, if the Eagles lose Sunday and both teams win out, you realize the Cowboys aren't in first place, right? Because that's not how standings work, stupid. If they tie in standings, it goes to conference record. And if their conference record, the Eagles have 2 losses in conference, which would be San Fran and Dallas, and the Cowboys would have 3 losses in conference, which would be San Fran, Philadelphia, and Arizona. So that's an absolute joke. Now, if the Cowboys are ahead of them for 1 week on the standings, it's because due to common opponents played. But after the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Arizona Cardinals, like everybody knows they will, the common opponents played will be even, and it will go to the conference record, which the Eagles will win. Now, it's not going to matter because the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game. It just baffles me how stupid people are and don't understand how standings work.
Yeah, 100%.
I got another one, an even bigger one. David Carr, you moron.
Oh,
you must have been sacked and dropped on your head way too many friggin' times for you to say that Marcus Mariota should be the Eagles QB1, and the Eagles need to start thinking long-term that Marcus Mariota would be a better quarterback to win than Jalen Hurts. Are you out of your mind? Are you just mad because you always stunk and broke a record for most times being sacked in a season. Now, this isn't the first time David Carr has gotten on and said Jalen Hurts can't read the defense and he doesn't throw the ball well. David, just say that you stink and that you're jealous of that he has attributes that you'll never have, you loser. So David Carr needs to go be fired because I don't know how some of the people I get to talk sports with every single week, including the two gentlemen above me, don't have jobs over that buffoon. Because why? He was a number one draft pick one time, and he was one of the biggest busts in NFL history. So screw you, David Carr, and your brother Derek. I'll root against Derek now because you're an idiot.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts definitely could throw the ball better than Derek.
I just want to say that David is also mad because Derek has had a better career than him.
I commented on that video, one of them on TikTok, and I said he needs to go talk to his brother about what a good quarterbacking looks like. And you inspired an impromptu counter victory there, Gene. And this deals with Stephen A. and it deals with Derek Carr. I'm tired of national media members trying to troll Eagles fans for effect because they know they'll get a reaction from a passionate fan base. And that take is so idiotic. He can't really believe that. It's WWE like he can't really believe that. Anybody that's looked at any tape and look at Marcus Mariota knows that there's not even a chance that Marcus Mariota is going to be able to hold a candle to what Jalen Hurts can do.
But
the defense
has had like a billion concussions, so
I don't care.
He may not even know which one is which. He might think Marcus Mariota is Jalen Hurts and Jalen Hurts is Marcus Mariota. We don't even know.
I don't care if he was the sparring partner for Clubber Lang in Rocky III, and has one good eye. He should be able to see that there's a huge gap between the talent of the two quarterbacks, especially
number 3 for MVP on the season.
Yeah.
They had the best record in football. They just set a record for most games won in a row versus teams above 500.
People,
I have a.
Is he on ESPN or NFL?
I've got a quick counterfeit green, guys.
Shoot.
So mine real quick is counterfeit green to all the Eagles fans who's been running around talking about we need to throw the ball more and not run the ball as much.
Yeah.
Cool.
Shut up. Shut up. You were proven wrong this week. If you say it again and I see I'm going to slap you.
Yeah, they definitely have to run the ball. That's their bread and butter. National broadcasters, David Carr's on NFL, right? NFL Network, if I'm not mistaken.
Who cares?
I don't know because when I see David Carr, I turn the channel because I don't care what he has to say.
This is why ESPN and I don't even watch shows with Skip Bayless on there because they're just hot take shows. They're just for reaction and effect. I can't stand sports broadcasters like that because it's not real talk. They're trying to get a rise out of you, and it drives me nuts. And they do it with Eagles fans all the time. They do it for effect. So they love underrating us because they know that we're gonna be like, you're full of shit, and we'll call them out. And I love that about the city and this fan base. But it's unoriginal. And you should be better than that being a former player on how to talk football. You should be able to get a genuine reaction from an honest analysis, like a Brian Baldinger and people like that. Those are people that are about ball, not about getting clicks.
All right, well, that's all we got for this week. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to know where we'll be next week, we'll be back here 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rain nor sleet nor shine, we will be here. So, The Godfrey, Cool McCain, Eagles Elite Podcast.
It was a good one last night, too, by the way. If you didn't see it, you might want to go watch that one. It was a good one.
Yes, sir. I'm the NFL Genius, Gene Walzak. If you want to continue the football talk, we will be following this up with Sideline to Sideline that starts at 7:15, taking you up to Thursday Night Football. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Any final comments, gentlemen?
Fly Eagles Fly. Watch Eagles Elite, youtube.com/Eagles Elite Podcast.
My guy.
Not saying goodbye, just saying take it birds deep.
Take care, y'all. Appreciate it.